Sunny ways, my friends. Sunny ways.
Your 16 seconds are up. I'm going to ask you again because nobody believes you when you say you don't know how much money your family has got from the wheat group. You've had a month to look into that. You knew you were going to testify here. Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization? How much?
That information has been publicly shared. I will highlight.
Well, then tell me what it is.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles, sort of thing. Sorry,
the servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
Where's the funds?
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean? Oh, Justin, you're awake. You made it. Have a seat. Have a coffee. You need some. Wakey time.
Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription. So we cut it. It's only $13.99 a month that we're saving, but every little bit helps.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Like which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody. Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here. Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. Welcome to a Tuesday night stream. We finally got a proper intro done for these streams. I'm not technically using the Friday Night Fringe intro, but it's at least a little more uniform with what we're doing here tonight. Welcome to a chill and chat. We're going to do a chill and chat tonight. It's going to be a little different from what you guys are seeing on the norm. Now, how is a chill and chat going to work? Well, I'm going to tell you, last week I played a really funny Donald Trump game here on the stream, and then it kind of turned into a serious stream. It was kind of an AMA, Ask Me Anything, and well, it turned into a fun little stream. Tonight, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I love every Friday night when I get to sit down with you guys in the community, chat with you guys, talk to you guys, and it's always my most favorite part of the week. Another thing I like doing during the week, of course, is sitting back, relaxing, kicking back in my good old arcade and playing some fun video games. And one of my personal favorites, if you know anything about my generation and what I grew up with, one of my favorite video games of all time is probably by far Mega Man 2 on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. So tonight I'm going to be doing my best attempt at a speed run through Mega Man 2 while chatting with you guys, hanging out. If you want to talk politics, if you want to ask questions about politics, it's not really a serious stream, but more a fun time to hang out, to kick back, to relive some of the glory days if you grew up in my generation or any time around then, or even if you appreciate retro video games and kind of just get to know the Fringe, I guess, so to speak. It's going to be a fun stream, you guys, so buckle up. Louise jumping in, asking, what game you playing? We're going to play Mega Man 2 on the original Nintendo NES system. One of my all-time favorite games of all time. If you don't know Mega Man, oh, you're in for a treat. It is a fantastic retro game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Jennifer Francis chiming in, Gen X. Yes, Gen X. Trudeau's economy coming in off to work just in time to hit the thumbs up. Be safe, everybody. Thank you so much for popping in. We got Randy coming in. My fave game was Fallout. The original Fallout was a great game. As time progressed, Fallout 3 was probably my second favorite out of the series, or New Vegas. But yes, love the Fallout series. Brendan Taylor, I'm playing Civilization 6 right now. I love Civilization. In fact, the fact that game surrounds politics, maybe we should do a Civ stream sometime here on the channel. Maybe we can get into that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to to the stream. Louise coming in. You are my kids' generation, and I trained them well. If they've got the Nintendo thumb, then yes, it is a great stream to be alive. Let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen, and let's get this stream underway. I do have to do one thing really quick. I got to adjust my volume settings here. I was trying to get everything done in time for the stream for you guys, and I'm gonna get into my emulator software here really quick and change the volume settings just so that it's not bleeding your ears out when we're playing here. Where do we go to the volume? Mixer maybe? Or is it output? Enable audio output. We want to do that. Change audio mixer settings, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure how to do the volume on RetroArch. I've never actually had to change the volume because usually I do this in OBS. Give me 1 second here, folks, because we are going to figure this out. I always love these emulator programs because they're not the most user-friendly unless you know them back to front. Maybe there's a way for me to do it within Windows? I don't know. Let me try and see if I can do it within Windows for RetroArch. Okay, now keep in mind, folks, volume gain, is that an option in here? I don't see gain on here anywhere, but let me check. Oh, wait, I did see it. Volume gain, decibels 0.5. Let's try it at about minus 58. Let's see how that runs. Let me know if it's blowing your eardrums out, folks. Are we even able to hear the audio here? Oh, why is the game running so slow? That shouldn't happen. It says I've lost connection to the audio as well. I sound good. Well, it is let me try doing that. Hang on 1 sec, folks. A little bit of troubleshooting. We're gonna do an entire window RetroArch. Let's try this again. Oh. No, that's not doing it. That's screwing with the sound by turning down the. Guys, I apologize that this is this is kind of the way it's going. I had things originally set to go. And then for some reason it just wanted to give me an issue here. Does that get the game running normally? If I can't get it running, maybe we'll just have to have a regular stream, I guess, instead of a chill and chat with a video game. We'll just have to chat about good old regular stuff. I had everything working perfectly fine before. Oh, the joys of working with the internet. Is my volume mixer turned up? I broke it, says Mrs. Fringe. I don't understand why it's running at such a slow, incredibly slow speed. Let me close it out. We'll reopen it and we'll try it that way. I apologize, ladies and gents. Let me get this working. All right. So I have audio. Game's running at normal speed. Now, if I add this to the stage, is that too loud for you guys, or is it somewhat quiet? If it's screaming loud, I'll turn it down. That is the chaos of going live? Yes, it is. It's a bit loud. Let's see if I can turn it down a little bit more. Let's see, is that any better? Cut by 1/3. How about now? Is it better? That's a lot better? All right, well, let's do it then. Let's get started with some Mega Man 2 on the good old NES. God, I'm so glad we got this working. One of my favorite NES games of all time. I can't wait to get into this with you guys. Again, if there's anything you want to ask me in the chat, throw it in the AMAs, throw it up in the chat. I will try and get to the chat as much as possible. Again, I'm going to try to speed run this game as quickly as I can. Let's start with good old Metal Man. If you don't know what Mega Man 2 is, this game came out in the early 90s, and it was a successor to the original Mega Man. Of course, the point of the game is that you are a robot. What is it the cartoon used to say? A super fighting robot? Every enemy you kill in this game, you gain their abilities and then try to stop Dr. Wily at the end of 8 Robot Masters. It's a fun little gauntlet of a game, and I always enjoyed it because it was fun to figure out with each game what abilities, what powers each robot had. The cool thing about the robots in this game is they all have a weakness. So, for example, Fireman is weak against Woodman, and Woodman is weak against Airman, and things. Kind of like a rock, paper, scissors kind of formula for these games. And a killer soundtrack, I might add. That's one of the reasons I didn't want the audio to be too low. Mega Man always had the best soundtracks as a kid. I make you feel old now? Oh, come on, it's not that bad. I remember playing this game for the first time as a kid, and this game, out of all the Mega Mans, a lot of people hold Mega Man 3 as the best Mega Man game. This was always my favorite out of the whole series. I used to stream this game on probably a monthly basis when I used to play on Twitch before I got into YouTube. So if you didn't know, before I got into Unacceptable Fringe, I used to stream on Twitch probably about 4 nights a week on regular, doing retro game streams, and Mega Man 2 was always one of my favorite. My good old moderator in the chat, Master of Snatch, once saw me do a deathless Contra run, if you know about Contra on the NES, and its infamous 30 life code cheat. We don't do that here on the channel. In fact, maybe if we have time tonight, I'll do a Contra run for you guys. We'll see. I remember Pong and Space Invaders on Coin-Op. There we go. Colin with it. Jeez, my Louise, you guys. Colin with a $200 super chat. Love your channel. Nice to have a Tuesday show. Thumbs up. Or the thumbnails are hilarious. I don't care what anyone says. Colin, holy crap. Thank you for the super chat. My goodness. I am going OG. Let's see if we can do this damageless. Metal Man is a tough cookie, but I used to be able to do this without getting hit. Oh, no, we took damage. Oh, if I didn't get hit there, that would have been damageless. My God. Well, that was close. What a run. I do love the community here. We have an amazing community. I accidentally clicked off the game for a second. Let's keep it going. Ingrid, I do love our community. I can't show the comments on the screen, unfortunately, because every time I click off of it, it stops the game. But again, Colin, I will flash that super chat again towards the end of the stream once the game is done. So, God, my goodness, that is heartwarming. Thank you so much. So again, each robot master here has a weakness. Metal Man, of course, for some reason when the developers made this game, they made Metal Man overpowered, but of course because he's a buzzsaw, Woodman is going to be our next robot master to go after. My husband Charles says, hi Derek. Charles, how you doing? Welcome in. It's good to see you guys in here. Thanks for popping in tonight. Hollow Knight. That's a 2D game. I almost thought it was retro. Retro is Pac-Man. Oh, this is definitely retro. So again, one of the bonuses to this game is you gain the robot's abilities with each level. And Metal Man is the one that you want for this game because you can actually fire his weapon in 8 different directions, which helps you get ahead real quickly in this game. The only downside whenever you use a robot's power is, of course, you have your health bar, but you also have an energy bar for said robot masters. And you can use your energy up pretty quick if you're not smart with how you're using it. There we go. We'll grab an energy refill there for the good old boss weapon. Pitfall was amazing, Jennifer. There you go. See, now I don't feel so old hanging out with people in here. Pitfall was one of my faves on the Atari. In fact, I still have that game on cartridge for my Atari 2600. I still play it. Actually, on my arcade behind me, my multicade, I actually have Pitfall installed on my multicade. Love me some Pitfall. You young people didn't grow up with Pong? I actually have a Pong console in my game room. I love Pong. Intellivision, I have an Intellivision as well. Maybe we should do a stream of that one night. I'd love to play some Intellivision games. I think that, what was it, Night Stalkers? I think that was one of my favorite Intellivision games, next to Lock and Chase. Yes, Pitfall was on the Intellivision too, I believe. Maybe it wasn't. Or I'm thinking Pitfall 2 maybe was on the Intellivision. E.T. was the worst game. Here's the thing about E.T. E.T. Astro Smash was a great game, yes. E.T. gets a lot of flack. And the problem with E.T. is it's not necessarily a bad game. It's not a bad game, it's that it's misunderstood. I think people don't know, once you know how to play it, it's not that bad for an Atari game. Lock and Chase is my fave. Unacceptable Fringe. Young people didn't grow up with those tabletop arcades with the glass over, or the white stuff that used to get cut on top of those things in the 80s. Are you talking about the good old snow, the fresh powder? First computer games were on cassettes. I had a Commodore 64 all the way into my 20s, and I used to play the cassette tapes on there. I used to love that. Let's see how fast we can take out Woodman here. Oh, I almost one-cycled him. There we go. He's done. Nice and quick. Hope all is well, and the kids are good. Luca, thank you. The kids are fantastic. In fact, they're all killing each other as we speak while they're on summer vacation. Good old sibling rivalry, which is exactly why I'm sitting down here playing good old Mega Man and taking some time to put my feet up, because... so there we go. We got the Leaf Shield. Now, the Leaf Shield is important because when we do go after Airman eventually, it is his weakness. But once again, Metal Man comes in handy. For Michael Bublé Man, as I call him, we're going to go after Bublé Man and wreck him as quickly as possible, and then move on to Airman. Derek's in hiding. Listen, they don't have enough life insurance to keep me safe from my children. There we go. There we go. Straight across. You see, I'm enjoying myself. Oh, let me tell you, this is a guilty pleasure. This game, maximum effort. Let's go. This game just brings me back to the days when men were men and women knew it. Nothing mattered except the good old Nintendo. No popcorn on the beach, Mega Man. Well, we gotta watch out. Or no pooping on the beach. No, Mega Man does not poop on the beach. He's a little more civilized than that. I really gotta get my glasses so I can read better. I play Mech Warrior Online, super fair, super balanced. I do like me some Mech Warrior. Not gonna lie. I gotta be careful here. We don't want the old spikes to get in the way. I'd like to do this run deathless if I can help it. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! Is another game I absolutely loved on the NES. I'd say between Mega Man 2, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, and Castlevania. Definitely my 3 all-time games, like #1 slot games on the NES. A lot of people always go for Super Mario 3, and while it is a good game, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out!, Contra is another one. I mean, there's so many games that could really hold that #1 spot for me. And the problem with the NES is that this is the console I grew up on as a kid. I mean, this machine came out when I was 5 years old, and even though Atari was technically my first console, this is the one that I have the best memories with. You know, with friends growing up, everybody was into Nintendo. Everybody had the power, Nintendo power. There goes my deathless run because I jumped too early. Adventures of Link, that's another game that gets panned, and it's not as bad. Was I into Doom, the original, and afterwards? Yeah, so, really funny, the original Doom came out when I was in the 8th grade, and in Manitoba, you actually finish, I guess what they call junior high or primary school at the end of grade 8, and then you move into high school for grade 9 to 12. So it was my final day of grade 8. It was the last day in this school that I went to that went from kindergarten to grade 8 in Winnipeg. And the teacher basically just said for the last 2 days, you know, you guys can do whatever you like. Fill the time. There was no more work to be done. One of the kids brought in a bootleg 3.5-inch quarter disc of Doom, and myself and some friends played through it entirely over those 2 days at the end of the 8th grade, and it was absolute magic. Quake was another one. I absolutely loved it. Power Glove Love, says Brian. I actually have a Power Glove. It's so bad. Some people will know what that reference is. But see, after a long day of watching Justin Trudeau screw the world over, I mean, these are the things that just totally clear my head. Just sitting back at a time when the world was a lot simpler. You know, nobody had cell phones. Nobody was texting. There was no Facebook. There was no internet. If there was internet, it was in development stages that people weren't using it. Doom and Quake are amazing games. I love the AR Max and Game Shark. I didn't mind the Game Shark so much until I was probably like into the PlayStation 2 era, and then I just didn't have as much time for games. The Game Shark was very helpful. And Duke Nukem I saw in the chat. Yes, it's time to kick ass and blow bubblegum. Love Duke Nukem. Your face, your ass, what's the difference? Oh, good old Duke Nukem. Good that somebody took a picture of that guy's ass in public. Now it's on the internet. Good for him for pooping in public. I mean, I don't know, man. Captain N, I have that on DVD. I have the entire series of that. I watch it with my kids regularly. So, if you knew about cartoons in the 80s, I've got a plethora of 80s cartoons that I bought on DVD to watch with my kids. So I have the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, as well as the Legend of Zelda cartoon that used to air every Saturday and weekdays on kids television. I've got Captain N the Game Master, the entire G.I. Joe series, the entire Transformers series, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats. I bought Gem and the Holograms for my daughter on DVD. Batman the Animated Series, as well as Batman Beyond, because I liked both of those series. I've got all that for my kids. as well. Super Mario World, The Adventures of Super Mario Brothers 3. God, so many cartoons. Pee-wee's Playhouse. I have the entire Blu-ray set. My 8-year-old loved watching Pee-wee's Playhouse. G.I. Joe streams on YouTube 24/7. They have tons of 24/7 streams of old shows on YouTube. But yes, G.I. Joe is one of them I always liked. Earthworm Jim was pretty good. That was late 90s for me. I didn't really get into that one as much. Those were during my high school days when I was maybe experimenting with tobacco products, we'll say. So Earthworm Jim was a good show to kind of kick back to. And then as the 2000s got in and I was still experimenting in that phase, I think Teletubbies was the go-to. Does anybody ever remember the god-awful CGI, like computer-animated Donkey Kong Country cartoon that came out in the mid-90s? That was terrible. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Yep, my kids love the 80s cartoons better than cartoons today. Favorite 90s show is Jim Henson's Dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. Buck Rogers. Yes, wasn't it called like Buck Rogers and the Alien Dimension or something like that? I do have it. I do have it on my Intellivision and my ColecoVision. Loved Buck Rogers. Ninja Turtles. That's another series I have on full DVD, as well as the movies. Except for the third one, we don't talk about that movie. Saturday morning cartoons were my jam as a kid. Do you guys ever remember that PSA cartoon that came out, the All-Stars, Cartoon All-Stars to the Rescue? Or whatever it was, with like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Garfield and Alvin and the Chipmunks and the big pot smoke cloud that was telling the guy to do drugs. God, I remember school trying to show that to us as kids, going, you guys shouldn't take drugs. I think for me as a teen, like early teen, getting into my mid-teens, for me it was Fox Kids. I got into like The Tick, Spider-Man the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series. A lot of Fox Kids shows really gripped my attention. After school specials, yes. Voltron, He-Man, and Battle of the Planets, yes. Oh my God, you guys are really hitting my nostalgia here. Got 150 people in the stream. I really didn't think we'd have a big stream tonight because people usually don't get into the retro stuff, but I'm really glad to see you guys here. I hope you guys are having fun. You can't say that on television. Wasn't it I Don't Know? You'd get slimed. That was a great show. Alanis Morissette used to be on that show. What else do we got here? Bad Fur Day. Yeah, that was a good game. Saved by the Bell. Oh, that was a terrible show. The old 60s Spider-Man cartoon. Yes, Danger Boy. Or Danger Bay, sorry. I was thinking of Astro Boy when I said Danger Boy. Brave Star, that was terrible. Gummy Bears. Brave Star was a weird one because it was made by the same Filmation group that did He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. But it was just weird. It never really took off. Degrassi, yep. I always remember Degrassi because it was trying to be so edgy. Like there was an episode I remember watching, I think it was Wheels, who like got picked up hitchhiking and some guy tried to like grab his junk and he's all like, oh, I got molested in a car. And they played all this dramatic music. It was it was a really weird show. It was crazy. Louie the Lightning Bug. I remember those commercials. Ashtar the Robot, the guy who could put his arms back on and you can't. I remember that. Star Fox. Love that game. Older X-Files, yes. Outer Limits. I got my G1 reissue Transformers Dinobots the other day, so I've got a reissue, 40th anniversary Grimlock. I've also got a 40th anniversary Soundwave that I absolutely love to death. I recently had shipped to me a Transformers collaboration with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where they did the Turtle Van and the Ecto-1, as well as the Back to the Future DeLorean. What do they call him? Gigawatt? Love the collabs the Transformers do with movie and TV lines. God, I feel like I just got my people in this chat today. You guys are hitting all the right notes for me. Where were you guys when I was on Twitch a couple of years ago? That would have been a lot more fun back then. I used to get excited back then if I had like 3 people in my stream channel. It's like, woo! 3 people are watching me. Now look at where we are. What is it the Jeffersons used to say? Now we're up in the big leagues. Speaking of the Jeffersons, I just watched Tropic Thunder with my wife the other day. That's a movie that wouldn't get made today. Have you guys seen Tropic Thunder? Good old Robert Downey Jr. Oh. Elvira, listen, I still get shit when I play the pinball game. The $6 Million Man. Good old Steve Austin. Not Stone Cold Steve Austin, but yes, Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man. We have the technology. We can make him stronger, faster. I was such a nerd as a kid. I got into everything. What exactly are we talking about? Good old nostalgia, baby. You guys remember the 80s? I remember. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh. Here we go. Hey, you want to catch those birds before they drop those eggs. Or else it's curtains. Because these guys can knock you out. See, they can knock you off pretty quick. All right, full energy for Airman. Here we go. Rock and roll wrestling. Hulk Hogan's rock and wrestling. I used to love that. And the Thumb Buddies, yes. Although it was a little weird as a kid putting your thumb up a wrestler's butt in order to play with it, wasn't it? What do I need for this one? Woodman. Good old 2 hits with this weapon will take out Airman. This is an easy one. Where's the DeLorean? Listen, Biff kind of ruined it for everybody. Oh, come on, Airman. Don't be like that. There we go. Should I bring up Rifleman, Wagon Train? Not sure what we're talking about. Well, I don't know. I mean, if that has any relevance. Now they only need to leave a message and you are obligated. There you go. WWF Superstars. So it's funny, when last year, a good friend of mine, Diana Hart, who is the widow of the late British Bulldog Davy Boy Smith and sister of Bret Hart, the Hitman, we've become friends since launching How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom. She actually invited my family and I, as well as Tamara Leach and some other folks, out to their new wrestling production in Calgary called Dungeon Wrestling. And if you live in Calgary, you should really go check out Dungeon Wrestling sometime. It's very, very hardcore wrestling. It's good to see. I think Bret does have a hand in it. However, I did meet Bret at that event and chatted with him a little bit, and it was kind of surreal because I used to watch Bret every Saturday night on wrestling. It was always my go-to, and he hasn't changed a bit. He's an absolutely amazing man. It was great to chat with him. Us Gen X people are indestructible. I don't know about that. We've definitely been through the ringers. There's Gunsmoke Bonanza. Yes. I met the Hearts. I don't want to, sound like a braggart, but I am technically friends now, associates with the Hearts. It's kind of nice. I talk to Diana more than anything, but yeah, no, they're great people, great folks. If you know your CFL football history, Diana Hart is now with Hall of Famer Tom Forzani. Absolutely great people. Tom's a wonderful guy. I get to hang out with him whenever I see Diana, and he's a great guy too. Akari Warriors 2-player, that is an impossible task. That is as impossible of a task as asking Justin Trudeau to balance the budget. It's not going to happen. Ever. ABBA, that was the good old code with Akari Warriors to get your infinite lives, but even then, a 2-player completion was almost near impossible with that game. Knight Rider, that was another good show, yeah. The Littlest Hobo. Yes, I remember that show. Good show. As a kid, I used to cry at the TV every time I saw the dog leaving because he didn't have a home. I get that's why he was called the hobo, but like my parents would always like turn the TV off before like it got to that point because I was about like 3 or 4 years old. And I'd sit there going, that dog doesn't have anywhere to live. And it was Dukes of Hazzard and A-Team were good shows too. B.A. Baracus, obviously Mr. T. Hey boy. Always my favorite character. I have the Littlest Hobo theme song on my phone. Oh my gosh. Airwolf was another good one. They made a Nintendo game out of that one as well. That was I remember playing that on the Nintendo as a kid. Take a little bit of damage there on purpose. You have the Littlest Hobo on your couch? I mean, Funis, I don't want to make you panic or anything, but that dog's probably like 40 years old. I think if you have that dog on your couch, it's probably expired. Might want to look into that one. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, select, start. Good old Konami code. I don't know if you guys know this, but it didn't just work with Contra. In fact, if you ever play a game called Life Force, it actually works in that too. It was a code that was actually designed for developer testing or whenever they put the game on display at conventions. Because the whole point of Nintendo games was to make the work to complete it difficult in order to extend play times. So often Konami games had a peak difficulty rating. They didn't want people testing the game to find it too difficult, so they put those codes in just about every Konami game until Contra, because people wanted a challenge. All right, here we go. Toughest boss in the game, ladies and gents. Let's go. Today's topic is chill. Yes, it is. 1. Oh, there we go. Just like that. Toughest boss in the game. Out. I talked about Sylvan Lake. Where is it located? It's about 15 minutes west of Red Deer in Alberta. Gorgeous beach town. Absolutely love it. Except when the Indians go there and dump their charcoal everywhere, put up their tents, leave their garbage everywhere, block off stair access. Here's the thing. My wife and I have talked multiple times because if you watched our live streams, I've mentioned that we're considering moving out of Calgary. We've actually thought about Sylvan Lake because my mother-in-law lives up there. But here's the thing. If you live in Sylvan Lake, you can't enjoy the beach because all the yahoos from Calgary and Edmonton go there every summer and flood the beach. But the Indians are the absolute worst out there. In fact, the residents complain quite a bit, to my knowledge, at least from what I hear whenever I'm walking around town. They hate it. They hate the trash and the mess that they leave behind. They just don't look after the beach area, the park. They don't care. Littlest Hobo was a Canadian show, yes. WKRP, I used to watch that on reruns. That was a good show. Gauntlet used a hash code to record your progress. Yes, I remember it, and it was so long. You think it's bad at Sylvan? Don't go north. What you described is even worse, but add mass net fishing and discarded wasted fish. Oh my goodness. Chips? Good old Eric Estrada. Terry Fox. So I remember my mom taking me to see a runner similar to Terry Fox when I was a kid. His name was Steve Fogno, and he was doing the Canada-wide run similar to Terry Fox. Taxi got Christopher Lloyd and Danny DeVito were great in that show. There are good actors in that show that weren't those two, but those are two of my faves. All right, now we got to be quick with Quick Man. My wife used to call me Quick Man because of our wedding night, but hey, that's another story for another day. Let's keep moving. We're going to use good old Flashman, if need be. Flashman stops time, and for this portion of the game, you absolutely need his abilities. Yeah, we got to use it there. I missed the jump. Oh, missed the one up. I don't care. We got to go. The original 21 Jump Street with Johnny Depp. Oh shit, I respawned these guys. I'm just gonna have to run. Battlestar Galactica beats Bears Battlestar Galactica. If you ever watch The Office, you'll know what that reference is about. Cheers was a good one too. In fact, between Cheers and SCTV, I used to watch those as a kid. My parents never wanted me to, like, having a TV as a kid was a luxury in the 80s and 90s. I remember going to a garage sale when I was a kid, and I bought a black and white television, like a 13-inch black and white TV, for I think it was $10 or $15 off of a guy, and I brought it home and hooked it up in my bedroom, and I got like 2 channels, but mostly it was so I could play my video games in my bedroom. I had a Game Boy as a kid, so I really didn't care about black and white for Nintendo games, so long as I could play them in the privacy of my own bedroom. I eventually got a color TV, but I used to watch Cheers and SCTV at night when I was a kid. Laying in bed, it was just an awesome, awesome way to crash out every night. Yeah, my kids' school still has the Terry Fox run. They do it I think it's every September they do that. Magnum PI. Miami Vice was another good one. Like, just the cheesy, corny action shows. You don't see stuff like that anymore now that it's all woke ideologies and garbage. And it's a shame because, like, nobody took those shows seriously when I was a kid. Like, I remember going over to my friends' houses as a kid, and their, like, parents would be watching stuff like that. But, I mean, they watched it just for entertainment, like mind-numbing entertainment. It wasn't anything more than something to watch. There was no substance. It was just good old testosterone-driven TV. And we don't get that anymore. It sucks. Bring back edgy comedy? I wish they'd bring back a lot of things. Yeah, CGI is used to distract everything. In fact, one of the interviews that Ryan Reynolds did before going into Deadpool 3 was he said that he never wants to... it had something to do with his movies. He wants them to be more character-driven than CGI-driven. He finds that the characters are the most important part of those stories, and he won't sacrifice character for visual effects anytime he makes a movie, which I think is fantastic. It really shows his attention, despite his movies not being always the greatest. It shows that he actually cares about what he's making when you make comments like that, at least. All right, here, we're going to take a little skip here. A little cheat, because I'm not jumping across these timed blocks. All in the Family. Oh, Edith! Can you tell that meathead to get up here? Oh, I used to love Archie Bunker. The most racist man on the planet. I learned what racism was by watching Archie Bunker, let me tell you, and it was glorious. Space Odyssey. What was it? Mystery Science Theater 3000? You guys ever watch that? Where am I? He-Man? Maybe we need Michael Bublé Man here. Brian. I see Brian in there. Hey, Brian. Pick up my poop. Just like that. Married with Children. You know they're actually redoing Married with Children supposedly as an animated, like, 18-plus cartoon show. And I don't think they're bringing back the original voice cast, which really sucks. We're sitting at 45 minutes and we're getting to Dr. Wiley. That's not too bad for time. Keanu Reeves' contract had the clause that will not permit the studio to replace him with his digital counterpart. Well, I mean, that's good. That's a good clause to have in your contract. All right, Dr. Wiley. Married with Children was one of my favorite shows to watch as a kid because my parents hated it. They hated all the crude natures of it, but every time Al wanted to stare at women and talk about their assets, we'll say, it was a good show to watch as a kid, I'll tell you, especially when you're going through the puberty stages while watching a show like that. Great show. Max Headroom. God, who doesn't remember Max Headroom? I think it's one that we use. Nope. 3. The Dr. Wiley stage is a bit of a gambit to get to him. I believe it's 4 stages. And you have to do a boss rush fighting every Robot Master again. And you only get your weapons until they run out on this one, unless you fill them up with energy refills. If you run out, you're out, that's it. So let's top that off. Outer Limits was good. Tales from the Crypt, so that is one pinball machine I play all the time. Love me some Tales from the Crypt. Good evening, boys and ghouls. God, I used to love Tales from the Crypt. Creepshow was another one, but Tales from the Crypt was way better than Creepshow. Now there's no good movies? Well, I mean, I kind of agree with that. Unless you go see Deadpool Wolverine. I mean, God, you guys, that was fantastic. Ah, shit. Cut it short. Gilligan's Island starring Trudeau's Gilligan. Oh, that's a gooder. Ninja movies was a big deal back then, and I think Ninja Turtles helped kick that off, but I remember watching, like, what was it called? Like American Ninja or something like that, or it had something to do with that title. Ace's Iron and Eagle was another series that I used to love. All these, again, testosterone-driven action movies. The Lethal Weapon movies. All right, Pink Mega Man to the rescue. Doug Ford is the skipper. The Double Wide X-Men arcade. You know, I had an opportunity to buy one of those not too long ago. My only issue was getting it into my home was going to be a hassle, and my wife just said, no way. Oh, don't knock me off the block, silly. There we go. Epilepsy! Revenge of the Ninja. Revenge of the Nerds was an awesome raunchy comedy. You guys ever see that one? Kill Bill 2? That's a good movie. Rambo series was good. Yep. The Godfather. Let's fix this one up a bit. Animal House was better, yes. Oh, come on, Animal House is a classic. Oh, wait, nope. I'm taking the wrong one here. Planes, trains, and automobiles. I like me. Favorite line from John Candy. God, that was a great movie. Uncle Buck, yes. Beavis and Butthead. Oh God, my parents hated that when I was a kid. My wife hated that show. I used to watch that show religiously as a kid. I personally like the music videos in between everything more than a lot of the cartoons. Okay, I need that one to be full. This is kind of where I fill up my weapons before I go towards the end of the game. Because you can kind of respawn energy fill-ups. Gotta play smart. I don't need Quick Man. I'll fill my Metal Man. I do need Weapon 3, so I'll fill that really quick before we go. Sorry, it's been so long since I've played this game. I'm just trying to crunch all the numbers in my head and remember what weapons I actually need before the end of the game. There's one boss that's problematic before the end of this game, and it could ruin my entire run. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation's a classic. Yes, I watch that multiple times every Christmas with my wife. Breakfast Club, 16 Can. God, you guys are bringing up everything. It's like what was made in the 80s and 90s. Now we have memes to make things easier. Funis, you nailed it. Oh, that's funny. All right, here we go. The Goonies. Shitter is full. That's Canada's new motto. Shitter's full. The Goonies, I actually just watched that recently with my kids. We actually, when we went on vacation this year to Great Wolf Lodge, Astoria was only about a 2-hour drive from where our hotel was, and we actually debated driving out to Astoria to get a picture of the Goonies house. We just didn't have enough time to get out there, and I really regret it because the Goonies is one of my guilty pleasures from my childhood that I absolutely love. That and Kindergarten Cop, that was another movie that was filmed in Astoria. As a kid, I always said I wanted to live there. That was always my dream. Even though if you talk to anybody from Oregon, they'll be like, why would you want to live in Astoria? And I always tell them, because it's my time down here. Yo, Arthur, how you doing? Welcome into the stream. Welcome into the fun retro gaming chill and chat stream. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I hope you're having fun as we relive the 80s and 90s and chat while playing this amazing, amazing game. 2 stages left to go. This is the one that's problematic. Or no, it's the next stage that's problematic. This one's not as bad. It's just you need a specific weapon, and if you only have enough ammunition to try it once, and farming the ammunition to do it again really, really sucks. We are not old. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. Straight through. Boom shakalaka. The good old days, that's what I always say, when men were men and women knew it. These were the good times. Okay, we're going to refill Metal Man, and I'm going to switch to Quick Man. Make quick work out of Guts Dozer. 46 years old? Oh, come on, that's not that old. I'm still slightly younger than you, but it ain't that old. Here we go, Guts Dozer, finish quick. Now you can't even define a woman. Well, what is a woman? Somebody tell me, what is a woman? A woman is your mama. 48 going on 20. Speak for yourself. I'm 48 going on 18. Or maybe 15. She should plant some trees, have a shower. And I miss Mega Mans. Who doesn't miss Mega Man games? Come on. These were the epitome. If you could rock a Mega Man game back in the day, you were god tier. Dragon's Lair is my all-time most favorite arcade game. Still looking for one, but they are hard to find in good condition. Arthur, I hear you. The laser discs are the worst to try and find working condition for those games. While I have a Dragon's Lair emulated arcade, I can concur it is an amazing game. Dragon's Lair 1 and 2 are both great games, as well as Space Ace from good old Don Bluth. In fact, maybe I'll do a Dragon's Lair stream at some point and play through those games. I love those games. I remember seeing it as a kid for the first time. So there was a place in Calgary my parents took me to for my 3rd birthday. It was called the Enchanted Castle. It was kind of like Chuck E. Cheese. It was in Northeast Calgary. And they videotaped birthday parties back then. It was a big deal to pay to get a VHS tape of your birthday party. And my parents took me there, and I remember on the video, like, walking up and seeing Dragon's Lair and saying to my dad, it's a cartoon, and thinking it was so cool because you were playing an actual cartoon and not just a video game. I mean, I used to love games like Donkey Kong, Q*bert, all that stuff as a kid back then, but I'll tell you, Dragon's Lair, God, yeah, all day. I hope to solve your space problem soon so you can put Dragon's Lair cabinet. Look, when I move, I'll be able to put Dragon's Lair where it belongs. The first priority when I move is to have a studio that allows me all the room for my arcades, as well as an actual dedicated YouTube space setup. So I'll find out later this week if the mortgage is good to go and where exactly we may or may not be going. So once I know where I'm going, ladies and gentlemen, I will let you know. Dragon's Lair on the NES, don't get me started. Oh, what a steam pile of shit that was. Sorry, I accidentally crawled back up there. Let's go back down. We're going to need Metal Man for this one. I could have jumped, but I'm playing it safe like an idiot. There was a cowboy hologram game. I don't know if I remember that one. Oh, yes. Oh, I forget the name of it now. I do know what you're talking about, though. Old games and TV shows. This is why I used to love retro streaming on Twitch, because, like, look, yeah, I'm an old guy, but, I mean, reliving these days, there's a reason I like to relive the nostalgia from these days, because things were just so much simpler, and not just because I was a kid. Those were the Reagan days. Those were when, you know, say no to drugs, and the creepiest thing you could come across was a guy saying, I got puppies and candy in my car. Like, it just... all the cool movies that came out, the entertainment that was around, the culture. Hanging out with your rollerblades and your Sony Walkman. Going to 7-Eleven to play Street Fighter 2. Like, there just wasn't anything better. Alright, here we go. Now we have to take damage here, because there is no way without respawning that guy, which is why I think usually they drop a health pod on that one. Alright, this is the problematic boss, so let's see if we can make it work here. Taxi, the pinball game, Basematic, I actually have that on my digital pinball. I love that pinball machine. I play it quite often. So first off, I'm going to need Weapon 3. And then I'm going to need to use Flashman. Oh, wait, it's not Weapon 3. Shit. So here's a little trick. If you pause and unpause these bullets when all these guns fire at you, can't hit you. They actually go right through you, as you can see on the screen. Shit. I screwed it up. Hold on. I don't want to fire a bullet until I have to. Because again, I've only got one shot at this. Alright, I think we're in the clear. Nope, hold on. Oh no, no, more damage! Oh, and I fell off. Shite. Do I have a energy tank? No, I don't. So if I get hit again, it's over. Okay, I'm just gonna have to play it safe. Sorry, folks. I'll check the chat in a minute. I hate doing it like this, but this is the only way to preserve my ammo. Nope. That's it. That's the end of the run. Oh no. And I don't have the ammunition to go back. Well, we almost finished. Almost finished Mega Man 2, ladies and gents. Let's do a Contra run. I'll do a Contra run for fun with you guys. And then I'll finish up the stream and chat with you guys for a little bit. Let's, man, I'm so sorry about that screw up. Oh, why couldn't it be loaded? Hold on. Let me go into my actual files here. You have Donkey Kong Jr. cabinet, but do you have Donkey Kong 2? I picked up both about 8 months ago. Been playing them almost every day since. Arthur, I don't have a Donkey Kong cabinet. I used to have a Donkey Kong cocktail cabinet. But I got rid of it just for space when I first moved in here. A collector friend of mine really wanted it. He gave me a good price, so I actually got rid of it. I do have the DK Junior. I'm thinking about getting what's called a double Donkey Kong, so it's like a double driver. Hold on a second here. Oh, hold on. There we go. Load content. Sorry, folks. I got to go in and do this the old-fashioned way. So I've got all these gaming systems on the one drive. I got to go all the way down to C, which, I mean, isn't too far compared to Mega Man, so it's not that bad. Contra. All right, here we go. Good old Contra. No 30 life code on this one. We're going to get through it without the 30 lives. I doubt I'll do a deathless run like I did with Master of Snatch, only because it's deathless run without playing for ages is going to be impossible. I would need a lot of warm up. This was one of my favorite games as a kid. It sits in my top 3 of all time for the Nintendo. And we want the spread gun. Oh, geez, those white bullets are impossible to see on this laptop monitor. That's going to pose a problem. All right, let's... There we go. Pick that up for some extra points so we can get some extra lives up in here. All right, there we go. Where's my hot wife? Says Princess Thickness. She's got a meeting tomorrow morning, and I asked her to join me in stream tonight, but it was too late for her, so she just bailed on me. A TMNT 15-minute run? Not in my lifetime. Xylo, I love that game. It was one of my favorites as a kid. Hi to Princess Thickness as well. I just haven't. Again, I haven't played NES games in such a long time. I just haven't had the time. I recently got into Fortnite with my brother doing what's called zero build. So it's essentially just a battle royale. There's no building. It's just survive, I guess, get your guns and try to kill each other and survive. I've been having a blast with it. I just haven't had a chance to get back and play retro games as much. And not only that, but when I'm not playing Fortnite with my brother, mostly because, it's fun hanging out with him and catching up with him. But I usually try to play like pinball or my arcades when I get a chance. So the Nintendo has taken a bit of a back seat, which really sucks because, again, it's one of my favorite systems of all time. Next to the Super Nintendo, of course. These little green dots are impossible to see on this monitor. I'm going to have a problem with this. It's okay. I don't want to make excuses. We're going to get as far as we can. There we go. All right. So far, so good. Beauty. I should have a Smash Brothers tournament. That would be fun. It's got to be Smash Brothers Melee on the GameCube, though. That was the greatest Smash Brothers of all time. The waterfall is usually where I either have a really good run or I lose a life. And a lot of it, you'll see that guy running in on the left. It's a lot of respawn that goes on in here. And it's tricky. Tricky deaky. I'll take that invincibility, though. All right, jump to the right to get the guy to respawn off the right side, because I don't want guys coming in on the left while I'm trying to do my shiznit. Oh, good, an extra life. Now, I just grabbed the only other spread gun from here to a long time, so I hope I don't die, because if I lose my spread gun, I'm in trouble. And saying that, I probably jinxed it. Okay, so far so good. See, the left guys, yeah, those guys come in on the left there like crazy. There's a guy up here holding a gun that I want to get rid of. There we go. All right, here we go. All right, smooth sailing. On to the next base. The only console I ever owned was Atari 2600, and it was on a black and white TV. There you go. Narc was a great game. Did I use the Konami code? No, Mystical. No Konami code for this one. We're running through legit. I don't think I've used the Konami code since I was like 14, 13 years old. I will admit there was a time when young Derek got frustrated and used the code, but not so much anymore. I hope your husband Charles is okay. I just read about his injury there. That really sucks. Never owned an Xbox. Not a fan. You know, I didn't get an Xbox until the 360 days, and then ever since, well, this generation I got an Xbox because of Game Pass, but I probably haven't touched my Xbox in 6 months. All right, almost through this base, and then we're going to fight Optimus Prime's twin heads. Beauty Clark. There we go. There we go. I mean, video games, I just saw the one about your son learning to add by playing Dr. Mario and Zelda. Video games did a lot more for kids than they do now. I find with video games these days, they tend to hold your hand a lot. They just want you to get the experience versus actually skill. Gaming back in these days, it was all about, if you were in the arcades, it was all about making your quarters last the longest. Hand-eye coordination, reaction times. You know, and people always go, well, your generation sucked because you're all old and your games were stupid. And it's like, well, I don't think you understand the challenge that came with video games. Like, again, the Konami code was only there if you needed the help, because usually people wanted to beat these games on their own. They wanted, you know, that mark of accomplishment that you completed a Nintendo game. There was an old saying when we were kids, like people used to say, "Is the game difficult?" And they'd say, "Dude, this game is Nintendo hard." Nintendo games, at least when I was a kid, you didn't hear about people completing them all that often, just because they were insanely difficult. Now, as time has progressed and more games have come out, people have learned the games, they've mastered the games, they've gotten a little simpler. Xylo, there wouldn't be games without my generation. I concur. It's now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Solely benching on the back. And it's funny that people are always like, Nintendo sucks. And it's like, you know, Nintendo paved the way for everything you play today. Like, video games were canceled and finished back when Nintendo came along. In fact, when the original NES was placed in stores in 1984 as a test run in New York, they had to actually sell it with the robot as a toy, not as a video game console, because after Atari 2600s flop and oversaturation in the video game market, retailers refused to sell video game consoles. So Nintendo had to lie and say, well, it's like a video game, but it's more of a toy. I actually have an original NES with Rob the Robot in box, with the black label from those days. Oh, almost died there. There we go. I wanted that one. No! Oh, no, I didn't want to die there. Oh, and I lost my spread gun. I really thought I was going to see a deathless run there. Oh, that's too bad. We'll still get through the game. The industry may be heading for another crash similar to the one in 83. I think it is. Not really a crash where video games go by the wayside, but you're definitely going to see a lot of companies go under. You're going to see video games kind of go mainstream by like one publishing company. So like Microsoft essentially being the head producer of gaming. People are either going to lose interest or the cost is going to get so high that people just aren't going to care anymore. They're not going to want to pay exorbitant prices to play video games. Just gave a red Nintendo to my granddaughter with 10 games. She loves it. That is awesome. So, like, because I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to video games. I've got the current generation Xbox. Again, I bought it for Game Pass. I have the PlayStation 5 for VR mostly. And then I mostly play on PC if I'm going to do anything. I just find PC, you can tailor the games to whatever specs you've put in them and get the best experience all on what you prefer rather than what they're giving you, if that makes sense. You can max out and get like the full experience, or you can go basic if you want to. But I find that the pricing for games on PC is a lot more fair than they are for commercial video games. I think the whole entertainment industry is in for a reckoning. So, Mystical, it's funny you say that because my wife and I, when we went to see Deadpool Wolverine on Friday or Sunday, I said, you know, this is the first time we've been to movie theaters in over a year. And it wasn't because we couldn't go. It's just there was nothing worthy to go and see in theaters. There was nothing that made us say, oh, I have to see that day one. And there were a lot of people talking like that in the theater. Like, I think movie theaters are going to be a thing of the past. They're going to die off. Malls, all that stuff's going to die off. I mean, even when you talk about entertainment, you think about like bars and nightclubs. In Calgary, they've died off completely almost. Like, they're almost non-existent. It's all microbreweries and pubs now that people go to. Yeah, here's where I'm going to eat shit. Not the shit that's in the sand or on the streets in Ottawa, but... Oh, why did he get up so early? Come on. That was blasphemous. No. No. There we go. That's a tricky one. Well, the invincibility will give me the opportunity to run forward at least. There is one of those, like, gun guys up here, I think. Oh, no, just the boss. Come on. There we go. It's too convenient to sit at home with a surround sound in the big screen system. It is. Well, and you're seeing a lot of movies nowadays. Like, the problem is that when you look at movies on the whole, I've often said that the movie industry dying doesn't necessarily have anything to do with woke or quality. It's the time that movies are in theaters and the budgets that are being put towards them. Now, follow me on this one. If you think about it, movies like back in the 90s, again, when I think back to when I was a kid, like movies like Jurassic Park, they had huge success. But they were also in theaters for almost a year before they were released on home video. So you couldn't watch Jurassic Park unless you went to a theater within the first year or were prepared to wait all that time to see it at home at your leisure. Now, chances were most people would see a movie like that at home after seeing it in theaters because they wanted a rerun of it or their own copy at home. Nowadays, you have movies that drop that, take almost billion-dollar budgets by the time they're done with advertising. And they end up on streaming services exclusive to their movie within about a month of launching. So how the hell are they ever supposed to make their profits? You don't give your movies chance to make money. Like, even Deadpool Wolverine, very successful opening. They just hit $500 million as of today on the global box office. But $500 million, like, you think about that, that movie is a success to be hitting that much. If not every single movie does that and you have it on a streaming service within a month, how does a movie with $1 billion budget recuperate its losses? That's going to be the downfall of the movie industry. They're in too much of a hurry. Yes, the theaters do make more money on their side sales. And not only that, it's all their upgrades now. Oh, you want to sit in this specific theater that has reserved seating and heated seats and, cuck chairs and all this other stuff. They upcharge everything now at the theaters. In fact, when my wife and I went to the theater on Sunday, we went to this thing called a VIP theater. And I'd mentioned it on stream before. I'd never been. I knew it was like 18 plus. They had like a little restaurant next to the theater. They served booze. But this thing, I mean, you essentially pay double what it costs to normally go and see a movie. But like, we sat down to dinner, enjoyed ourselves, and then got to take our booze and our food into the theater to watch our movie. And you have servers who come over and say, what else would you like? Can we bring you more drinks? Can we get your popcorn? Can we do all these things? Yes, it's more expensive, but it's so convenient and nice. But they're making a killing on that, let's be honest. Even with the staff they have to pay to be there. But if you have a VIP theater in your town and you don't want to have a hassle of a night and you just want to be pampered and enjoy your night out, go to a VIP theater. My wife and I both said this is how we're going to do it from now on if we go out without the kids. That's luxury. I'm prepared to pay double for that experience. if the movie I want to see is that good. If it's just a Joe Blow movie, then no. All right, there's an extra life. That'll help us. I mean, we're at the end of the game, but still. There's what I wanted. I wanted my spread gun back. That's the last spread gun before the end of the game, so if I lose this one, it's... Well, it's still possible to beat the game, but it's just not going to be fun. So as Peter Griffin says, don't get penisy, kid. No, I jumped down instead of down and shoot. Oh, here we go. Now it's going to get exciting. Let's go. Alien face huggers. Okay. So far, so good. Let's get my licks in while we can here. Oh, shit. Oh, I don't know, guys. Final boss, 3 lives left. I don't know if we're going to get it. There we go. There's Contra. Oh, that's a good PETA laugh. Oh, a lot of people like my PETA. PETA. Let's... There's good old Contra on the NES. That was a fun one. At least we beat one game tonight. That was a gooder. I had a lot of fun with that one. I had a lot of fun playing retro games with you guys. Let's get out of the good old retro shtick and just get back into the good old stream here, ladies and gents. Let's catch up. If you guys want to ask anything, the good old Get to Know Fringe stream, throw it up in the chat. Let me know if you guys want to ask anything, if you want to talk about anything, opinions on anything. Now's a good time. Throw it up in the stream. I'll sit and chat with you guys for a little bit before we rush up. What a fun stream. We still got like 150 people in here. Man, I'll tell you, that made my night. Not only that, but I did want to, because I couldn't click on the chat earlier, Colin P with his $200 super chat. My God. Love your channel. Nice to see you on a Tuesday show. Your thumbnails are hilarious. I don't care what anyone says. Colin, thank you again so much for that. Absolutely amazing tonight, you guys. I asked on Discord, but might as well now. Thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. returning as Doctor Doom? Listen, so if you've read Marvel Comics, there's actually a storyline where where Tony Stark is essentially Victor Von Doom, where he becomes Doctor Doom. I think that's probably what they're going to go with. Now that they have the Marvel multiverse, I think it's going to be easy for them to write this in. I've heard that the Fantastic Four movie actually takes place in the 60s or something. I'm thinking there's going to be a rewrite to that, because why wouldn't they have been mentioned in any of the MCU movies leading up to, if that was the case? I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a multiverse type movie, but hey, I think RDJ can do it. I think it's great to have him back. I like him as an actor. A lot of people are divided. I'm excited for it, because I honestly feel like this was maybe in the cards for Marvel, or else they wouldn't have done it. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Resonate's coming in. I love the arcade in the background. Is it real or CG? That's all real. It's all 100% real. This is my basement. If you go back to my videos back in December, I actually did a basement tour, showing you not only what's behind me, but my entire home arcade, my toy collection, my game collection, some really cool stuff that's down here. I believe I put that out as a bonus video at Christmas in December. So if you go back in the channel, I'm sure you'll find it there, Resonate. But yes, it's all real. My Mystical says real like my man boobs. There you go. Secret Wars should end the multiverse. Xylo, I hope so. Listen, I've always never had an issue with things like multiverse. Multiverse has existed in comics for a long, long time. But it's just so done with the movies. Like I thought it should have ended with Doctor Strange, to be honest. Once Loki started wrapping up the whole split timelines and things like that. They should have just got rid of it, I think. But hey, it's working for Deadpool Wolverine. Let's see how it plays out, I guess. It'll be interested to see how it goes. The only thing that's CG is Derek. No. If I was CG, I'd look a lot thinner. I'd look a lot better than I do on camera then. Stardust Shorty. Oh my god, yes, sorry, I knew it was Derek. There we go. I want to talk a little bit about what I dropped today on the channel because YouTube absolutely suppressing those videos today. They didn't want anybody getting a hold of them. Talked a little bit about DEWs and Jasper National Park. Now, I want to make it completely crystal clear. I'm not suggesting that I believe DEWs caused that fire. In fact, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me saying DEWs. I'm not ruling it out. But you know, a lot of people were saying, "Do you honestly believe this? Is this honestly your take?" No, in fact, I should have given my take in the video. It was more of the question of what do you, the viewer, believe happened with Jasper National Park. Of course, when it comes to this Banana Republic government, I don't rule out anything, especially after lockdowns and the pandemic. I mean, they just overstep, um, and they really play a lot of shenanigans in the background with people's lives, with their livelihoods, without any regard for Canadian citizens. So I'm not going to rule out DEWs, but I honestly believe that it was government negligence. We saw the warnings. They were told that Jasper was a tinderbox back as early as 2017, did nothing about it. This is the end result. You know, if you underfund your country while you give billions of dollars to other countries, if you don't get the funding to provinces that need the equipment in order to battle these wildfires, this is the end result. This is what happens. We saw it happen with Fort Mac in northern Alberta a couple of years ago. We're now seeing it happen with Jasper. It's just insane. Brian, what do I think of the new Doctor Doom? You'll have to go back in the stream. I just answered that. So I'm not going to go through it again. It's going to be God Doom that when he emerges from the MCU. Maybe. Tough to say. The Pine Bugs, yes, I do believe that played a part in it. Look, if I'm going to be a rational human being, I won't rule out DEWs. I won't, because let's be honest, it all just lines up too much to make you question, well, maybe. But ultimately, I believe, until I find out otherwise, I believe it's negligence. It's crazy. The other story I talked about today was the poopening that happened in Ottawa, not Ottawa, but in Ontario, between Brampton and, again, Wasaga Beach. I've never been to Wasaga Beach. I've heard great things about Wasaga Beach. I've heard many people say that it's one of the greatest beaches to visit in Canada if you're going to go anywhere next to Wreck Beach in Vancouver. And everybody who knows Wreck Beach knows what I'm talking about. But Wasaga Beach, essentially Canada's toilet now. People defecating everywhere. I was talking a little bit about Sylvan Lake at the beginning of the stream, and that being the only real comparison I have to other places that are experiencing this issue. Now, in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, it's right in between Calgary and Edmonton. It's 15 minutes west of Red Deer, and it's a gorgeous beach town. They do have their share of issues in that town. I'm not going to lie. But it's got to be hell being a resident in that town because you can't actually enjoy the lake any time of the year. In fact, anytime we go to visit the mother-in-law, we have to go up to an area called Jarvis Bay, where there's a small beach area that people who live in the area tend to go to because it's not on the main stretch, where all the Indians come and put up their tents and barbecue and bring charcoal in their own barbecues and litter and dig their holes and leave diapers on the grounds and block off stair access with their tents, etc. They cause mass issues, and not only them, but the countless thousands of city locals like ourselves that go there every summer and flood the beaches. Now, if you live in that town, again, it's very tough to enjoy the beach when all that chaos is going on, but it's still a great place to live. I still think that I could live there potentially, but something's got to be done. You know, these we see it with the parks employees. We see it with bylaw officers, police officers in general. I think a lot of this is them not wanting to enforce rules or enforce their authority because they're worried that they're going to be called racists. They're going to be labeled and fired and canceled for calling out somebody who isn't white. I don't know what the problem is. I don't get it. Like if I went and take a crap on a beach, I'm going to get a fine. I'm going to get removed from the beach. I'm going to get a trespass order. I'm going to be told I can't come back. But if I come here from India and do it, well, they're going to say, oh, well, that's just his culture. That's okay. We don't know anything about poop. It's right there on the beach. I can see it from here. That's a poop zone. But I'm going to say there's no poop because this person isn't white. And I don't want to lose my job. Am I the only one who feels that that might be the reason that they're not enforcing things? Because everybody has a cell phone. As soon as you talk to a cop, they go like this with their phone and bring out their cameras. I feel like a lot of the people that push police away from actually doing their job are because of situations like that, using race as a thumbnail to push those arguments. And stepping in, I've lived in Ontario my entire life and refused to go to Wasaga Beach. I'd rather drive 8 hours to Pancake Bay and enjoy the beautiful sandy beach on Lake Superior. That's a shame. That's a shame that it's that bad. Brian saying there's a 3-part animated Crisis on Infinite Worlds. So I did watch all 3 of those. The first 2 are okay. The third one kind of a little bit of a letdown. Not bad though. Not bad. DC Comics movies are terrible. The animation department usually nails it. Well, Ian chiming in, Pancake Bay is a beautiful part of Ontario. That's exactly what the issue is. They aren't willing to risk their job. Well, I hope that's not the issue because, again, that's the problem when it comes to police. Look, I had a discussion with a police officer way back in 2022 when I launched How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom. In fact, he brought me one of my first tampered with Amazon books that he bought, that a lefty at Amazon took a box cutter to cut the book all the way down the middle at the back, about 3/4 of the way through the book. He had to call Amazon. Naturally, he got a replacement book. But when he reached out to me, when I was talking about possible fuckery going on, pardon my French, over at Amazon, he reached out to me and said, I've got the original envelope it shipped in. There's no damage to the envelope, but there's damage to the book. I'll bring it to you. You can keep it. And I did keep it. In fact, I framed the book. It is autographed by Tamara. And it sits within my frame, a frame on my wall, because it's a reminder that no matter how broken something is, it can still be amazing and it can still be brought back to resemble something great. And that's why I framed that book, even though it's damaged, it's ruined, because with that signature on it, the signature that signifies why that book was even written in the first place, I'm so grateful to have it on my wall. But nonetheless, I digress. The police officer who brought it to my home didn't tell me he was a cop until he came to drop it off. And he says, look, I can validate that I'm not tampering with the book. I'm not trying to, spread lies by cutting it myself and bringing it to you because I'm a police officer. I believe in the law. And then he paused for a second and he said, you probably don't like me because I'm a cop. Now, I offered him a signed copy of the book itself for him to bring me that copy because I wanted to show my thanks for all the crap he was going through. But as soon as he said that, I said, no, I don't hate you because you're a cop. And he says, well, all the cops that were, I'm just doing my job during the pandemic, just following orders. And I said, I understand that, but I understand that there's politics in that job, that I'm not going to blame good officers who have to put food on the table, officers who have to pay for their families. Now, if I was a police officer during that time, I probably would have found a way to step down. I would have tried to have found a way to walk off the job and say, I'm not going to enforce these rules. However, we've seen what that does. If you guys remember back earlier this year, I partnered with a company called Straight Goods Clothing, Chris Vanderbros, who ran that company. Now, he was a cop who walked away during COVID pandemic because he didn't believe in what was going on, and it cost him everything. In fact, he had to shut down Straight Goods Clothing simply because he wasn't making the sales he needed to justify leaving his job. He left a long-time career standing up for his rights. So while people say, oh, I would have walked away, would you have? And would you have been wrong to stay and say, look, I got to pay to pay for my kids to live. I like the idea of not starving to death. The people I blame in those situations are the ones at the top. I blame the police chiefs. I blame the province. I blame the doctors. I blame all the people up top that said, do this or else. The people who had the actual power are the ones that I blame. And that's what I said to this officer. Now, he never had to deal with any of those restrictions because he was in training while the pandemic was going on. But he said, I told him, I said, I have nothing but respect for any police officer that actually does their job, that actually follows the law, that represents the law, no matter who's giving them orders. They stand on the side of justice and the law. I respect those officers, and there are good officers out there that still do that. But what we're talking about here are officers, again, that are too scared to stand on the side of the law and enforce the rules because everybody's got a camera. Everybody's going to have hearsay and say, well, this racist cop came over and told us that they don't care about our culture, or it's because we're Indian, or it's because, they didn't have any proof that we pooped in the sand, that it was us. Like, it'd be an endless list of jargon that would probably result in the cop losing his job, losing his livelihood. So how do we find a solution? There's a line in Sweetie 2 that hits the hard. I'm a human first and a knight second. The police should follow that motto. Or they could follow that motto. I get it, Xylo, and that's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with anybody who says, look, they locked up pastors. They went up to people's homes and pulled them out of them when curfews were going on and all these totalitarian things. But again, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge. I guess maybe I'm just, a wimp when it comes to it. I don't know. I just, as a father of 3, as a man who sits and looks at his family every day and says, look, I have my beliefs and I have a structure on how I run my life. But my top priority in life as a husband, as a father, is to look after my family. I'm not saying that I'm justifying what police did. I'm saying that it's got to be a very difficult line to walk if you're a long-term career police officer being put in that situation to decide, what do I do? Do I go home and tell my family we don't have any money? Or do I try to get around this as best I can, or pivot around this as best I can? I don't know. I'm not a cop. I don't know the answer to that. I really don't know the answer to that. They force people to poison themselves. But here's the problem, Rob. Again, the police didn't do that. Dr. Hinshaw, if you're in Alberta, the Bonnie Henry, the premiers, the Liberal government, the people at the top, again, the police chiefs that handed down the orders, that accepted the orders. What should have happened day one, and I'm going to use Alberta as an example because I live in Alberta and I watched what went down in Alberta during that time. As soon as Jason Kenney, or as I call him, Fat Stalin, came down with Dina Hinshaw to the chief of police for Calgary and said, here's your marching orders. Here's what you have to enforce. The police, and keep in mind, they are a private police force, should have looked Jason Kenney in the eyes, Dina Hinshaw in the eyes, Nahid Nenshit in the eyes, and said, no, I'm not your puppet. I'm not here to do whatever you say. I'm not here to jump when you say jump. I'm here to uphold the law. I will do whatever is necessary, but it has to revolve around the confines of the law. If you would have had police chiefs from day one say no, you would not have seen pastors getting arrested. You would not have seen police knocking on doors. That therein lies the problem. All these pigs at the top, and I'm not talking just cops, I'm talking government fat cats, I'm talking mayors, I'm talking premiers. These pigs at a trough that are sitting at the top saying, you will do this or else. And nobody who's appointed to uphold the law stepping in and saying, we're not allowed to do that, actually. Look at what happened during the Freedom Convoy. Look how many police stomped on citizens and did whatever was necessary. That police chief who resigned, I forget his name, Stoley, laughing Hey, we've crippled their gas. We've done this, we've done that, smiling while he's saying it, and then a month later walking off the job going, I shouldn't have done that. No kidding. You bent the law. You were the police chief. The records are still mandatory. I don't know if they are. I know some places they are, some they're not. I've heard that they're not in some places. Again, I don't have definite. I'll just say it's speculation. One chief, many officers. They all should have said no. You can't fire everyone. Well, again, I don't disagree with that. That's why I'm saying it's kind of one of these damned if you do, damned if you don't statements. Like I said, I'm not defending the police in any way, shape, or form, but at the same time, I kind of get a family man's concerns, if that makes sense. Or woman's, family woman. Unacceptable fringe, but that never happened. The police follow orders, period. Most need to resign and really soon. Yes. In fact, that was one of the things I said I wanted done if I ran for the mayor's seat in Calgary was I wanted a full audit of Calgary police. I wanted anybody who took those orders to be reprimanded. I wanted police chiefs fired. I wanted good, solid officers that weren't corrupt, that were willing to do whatever the law says they have to do. Not what I tell them to do, not what the province tells them to do, but what the law, the code of Canada, the criminal code tells them they can do within the confines of the law. That's it. If I break the law as mayor of Calgary, I should be arrested and taken to jail. If the premier breaks the law, the premier should be arrested and taken to jail. If Justin Trudeau steals money from taxpayers, Justin Trudeau should already 10 times over have been taken to jail. The problem is you'll never see it happen in the political sphere. You have no idea how many people that were influential in Calgary with politics told me, well, you better not say you want to audit the police because you won't get into the mayor's chair if that's the case. I told them I don't care. That's why I was going to run, because I didn't care what people thought. That's what we needed. Problem is they're the ones making the laws. I get it. That's why I'm saying it's one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't want to side with police, but I feel for the family man, again, if that makes any sense. I don't know. The problem is, no matter what happens in the future, I still have my date. Look, when I'm researching videos, when I'm hearing about people pooping everywhere, when I'm hearing about the government stealing money, when I'm hearing about all this nonsense, people merging parties so that they don't lose votes, all these crazy, crazy things, I start to question that even if I would have run for Calgary mayor's office and won that election, was anything going to change? Is Canada able to be saved? Are we able to save the country? I don't know. I don't know at this point because, again, I've said it on other streams that when I went to Ottawa, when I was brought into the House of Commons, when I met with MPs and officials and saw the inner workings of the government, I left with a different perspective. I always thought, hey, I'm from Alberta. We always vote conservative. I like conservatives. I like conservative ideas. I like the Conservative Party of Canada. And by the time I left, I said, I don't know who to like anymore. This is messed up. And that is what makes me concerned about Canada, is it ever going to be fixed? Sure, some things will be corrected. You know, Pierre wants to axe the tax and Pierre wants to build homes and create jobs. Is immigration going to stop? I don't think so. I don't think it will. I think it'll be reduced. I don't think it'll stop. Will these woke laws go away? Probably. Catch and release? Probably be flipped over. But is it ever going to be fixed where it works for Canadian people? The biggest question you have to ask yourself was, did Canada ever work for the Canadian people? I want a unified country. I want a country where people can work for a living, where people can have money left over out of their paychecks, where people can afford to feed their children, feed themselves, pay for their mortgages, pay for a vehicle, and occasionally go on a vacation or holiday, maybe have some investments, work hard, get good rewards. I yearn for a world like that. But the older I get, the more I start to understand what my parents went through in the 1980s after Trudeau Sr., and they had to sell their home for $1 because of interest rates in the mid 80s. My old man lost everything. Everything. And he rebuilt. But even when I look as far back as the 80s, did Canada ever work for the people? I don't know. I guess it's a paradox. It's an unanswerable question, because you ask 200 people in this room the answer to that question, you're going to get 200 different answers. Nothing will change until we have a day where we all just stay home and do nothing. Well, but again, this is where I'm talking about the cops who didn't want to turn around and say no. Are we ever going to get there? Are we ever going to be able to convince everybody just stay home for one day? Or are you going to have people who say, I got to pay for my mortgage. I don't want to lose my job. Green Thumb Ottawa, Canada became a corporation long ago. We need to break this up and rebuild. I agree, but the question is how? How? What are you going to do about the internet censorship? Are you going to change the new hate laws, and will you pay for the workers to maintain the forest again so we have less forest fires? I mean, who knows? I mean, Pierre says he's going to change the internet laws. Pierre says he's going to properly fund it. And Pierre's from Alberta. I have to think that a man who was brought up in a home with two parents that were teachers would know what's best for Canadians. He'd be educated properly. Again, on a personal level, I like Pierre. I think his wife is very nice. I enjoy any time I've been able to talk with them. But from a political standpoint, you always have to go back. You have to go back and tell yourself, there's nothing that anybody can do that is going to make you happy 100% of the time. And that's just reality. It doesn't matter if you like the guy or hate the guy. Pierre Poilievre will not do 100% of the things that make you happy. I think he's going to do a good job. And I'm not saying this to be mean about Pierre. I'm saying that it goes back to that question of saying we have to rewrite the system. We have to fix things. We have to de-business Ottawa. How? How? Because it's just going to keep going. I mean, Stephen Harper, I thought, was a fantastic prime minister. I thought he did a great job. I didn't agree with him all the time. I didn't agree with him on his deals with China that screwed Canada. Part of the reason Trudeau has so much power with China right now is because of Stephen Harper. But I liked Stephen Harper. It's a vicious cycle. It's politics. That is politics. And that's why I talk with a lot of people that say, you know, as soon as Pierre gets in, all these YouTube channels are gone. People aren't going to pay attention to them anymore because politics will die off. Trudeau will be gone. People will lose interest. I sometimes say, I don't know. I think maybe some interest will die off. But as soon as Pierre Poilievre slips up and people get mad and people have something to say, that might change. I think there's been so much destruction in this country over the last 9 years. People are invested in politics, whether they like or hate the person who's running the country. China was also much more sane in Harper's day. Yes, Xi is a Mao wannabe. Yes, I get it. I get it, Mystical, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I think lots of people will still watch. Maybe not as many, but people are on guard, and that's what I'm getting at Thomas. I think, yeah, you'll have some people who disconnect, who go, okay, the job's over, Trudeau's gone. I know that if I find an interest in politics, I'll still be here. At the very least, I'll still do fun game streams. You guys can come hang out, maybe move into some mainstream pop culture war kind of stuff. But either way, Unacceptable Fringe will still be here to talk politics when necessary, if not all the time. The problem is, he said it himself, he's inheriting a dumpster fire and the amount of debt. What can you do? Exactly. But that's again, Brian, where, you know, I like this. This is why I like talking with the community and I like doing these streams, because it's critical thinking. I know anytime I talk about these things, people go, oh, you're going to make Pierre and his friends mad. This isn't to make them mad. This isn't to be mean to them. Again, I'm pro-conservative. What I'm looking at is the reality. If you can do common sense math, you look at the carbon tax, axe the tax, good, get it out of here. Food comes down, fuel comes down, cost of living comes down, or will it? The thing Pierre's going to have to do if he axes the taxes, he's also going to have to bring in what Jagmeet Singh's talking about, some kind of bill to limit grocers and retailers to say you're not allowed to charge X amount of dollars or something over what your bottom line is. You can't take advantage of consumers. Because if you think retailers are going to lower their price just because the carbon tax is gone, think again. They're making record profits right now. Record profits. If the carbon tax goes away, how do you pay? Like, it never had anything to do with the environment. The carbon tax was essentially there to recoup all the, or a portion of the money that Justin Trudeau is spending on ridiculous shit across the country and outside of the country. It's just it's a money wagon. If the carbon tax truly gave back more money than people put into it, then none of us would be suffering right now. But if you get rid of the carbon tax and you have this insurmountable national debt, how do you pay it back? You'll have to form a new tax. And I've said it before, this new tax might be the GST going up a little bit. It might be a harmonized sale tax countrywide. I don't know. I don't know what that answer is going to be. It might be like Pierre's talked about lowering income taxes. Okay, but what other tax is going to come in to replace all that stuff you're lowering or getting rid of, as well as handling the national debt? It is a dumpster fire. And it's not to say that he's lying to you. It's saying that if he follows through with his promises, if you do basic math, if you understand economics, the money has to come from somewhere. Where are they going to get it? Yes, they can defund the CBC. Yes, they can cut government programs and retain money from other places. But it's still not enough to cover the national debt that Trudeau has racked up. If you think the global elites are going to give up that easily, you're sadly mistaken. There will be lots of craziness to report on. Absolutely. Absolutely, Brian. I don't disagree. I do not disagree. Taxation is what led to revolution in America and France. Yeah, well, it's also theft. Taxation is theft. Again, we've talked about it a million times. People have mentioned it all the time. Income tax was, here it is. Yeah. Resonate got it in here before it ended. Income tax was initiated to pay for World War II, which was 10,000 times over. I thought it was World War I, but I thought it was war bonds or war costs that essentially it was supposed to cover. Either way, it was meant to be temporary. Here we are 100 years later still paying it. It comes down to people doing the work to fix everything. You know what? You're absolutely correct. But the problem is again, everybody wants to talk about it. But in this generation, when you see the current generation, the Gen Z generation, I mean, does that spark you as a generation that wants to get down to work and do things? Or are they so brainwashed that all they want to do is sit back and take money, free money? It is World War I? Okay. Yes, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was after the First World War. It's going to be crazy to see where the world goes. Again, I don't have the answers, but what I can assure you is that I am here, you guys are here, and we're going to talk about it, whatever happens, whatever come what may, as things move on in the future. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me chime in and give you a little preview as to what is coming up the rest of this week, leading into our Friday night stream here on the channel. Again, hopefully Mrs. Fringe will be able to sit in with me again. She had to work tomorrow, so she wasn't able to come in tonight. I'm really hopeful she's going to sit in on Friday with me again. It's always fun having my wife join me on stream. I like sharing something with her and having something with her that we can build on together. I think it's great. We're going to talk about Trudeau calling some elections tomorrow. He has called some elections that are coming up and why I think these are important, why I think this is the final nail in the coffin for Justin Trudeau. Again, I think things are going to tell. We have a video coming out about Danielle Smith coming under fire, and it's not about the wildfires. It's something else that we're going to talk about again later on this week, as well as Justin Trudeau destroying our justice system. We've talked about a little bit about it tonight, but boy, do I have a doozy of a story for you when it comes to that. Later this week, again on Friday. I hope you guys are excited for that content coming forward. But ladies and gentlemen, we've been running almost 2 hours. I had an absolute blast sitting here tonight with each and every one of you. If you want to see these streams again, if you like these streams, these chill and chats, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I can make it a weekly thing. We can bring it in. I want to start bringing in more live streams for you guys to hang out, to get your opinions, to hear what you have to say, because we are a community. And at the end of the day, it's always good to hear what the community has to say outside of censored YouTube comments during a live stream. I appreciate each and every one of you who come here and hang out, who enjoyed the stream. If you're watching it afterwards, leave a comment if you want to see more like this. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight and have a great rest of your week. Please make sure to watch the videos, leave a thumbs up and a comment. YouTube is just squishing them down these days. Any help you can give on that, if you enjoy the content, is appreciated. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a great rest of your evening. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe out there. Watch out for poop in the streets and on your beaches. I'll catch you on the next one, which will be this Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific, or 8 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific, here on the channel. Take care.